Good evening. Welcome to the Owen J. Roberts Board of School Directors Special School Board Meeting for the purpose of interviewing school board candidates. I call this meeting to order, and I ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This is the Owen J. Roberts Board of School Directors Special School Board Meeting being held on Monday, February 13. We will go right into our interviews for our two candidates. Before we start, I just want to, once again, I've emailed everyone to say thank you, but I really appreciate your willingness to put your names forward and raise your hand and say, I'm willing to help. And so I wanted to make sure you understood that this entire board appreciates your willingness to be here tonight. And so we look forward to getting to spend this time with you. So we are going to start with Ms. Chevelle Fuller, please. Yes. Good evening. So we'll ask you to spend a few minutes to tell us about yourself, whatever you would like us to know, and then we will move into our questions.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Yep, you got it.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, superintendent from far away, and all the other administration, legal, whatever. It will be, I have something more than I did last time in June. Okay. It will be an honor to fill the current open position on the school board. I'm going to read, I hope you don't mind. Okay, I will be professional with teachers with whom I worked. You all know that I did work with teachers. And of course with pupils, especially the pupils, and the general public at large. The importance of not being biased cannot be stressed. Okay, listening to, analyzing all matters presented to the board. That is my goal. I will not be biased. I will have an open mind. I will recuse myself if I or others believe that I would be unfair in judgment. My purpose is to be part of a team that supports our superintendent and helps to govern the school district, partnering with our community. Thank you.
I actually have the first question. Please share your background, including the qualities, skills, and experience that you would bring to the school board.
Okay, I'm old, I have a lot of background. Okay. As a former teacher, I understand the day-to-day workings of a school and a school district. I've been in several school districts, so it's nice that I got to see different views, different ways of running things throughout the years. I spent many years encouraging and engaging with students, meeting and speaking with parents, and working with peers and administrators. I was constantly learning, constantly improving. I always give 100% to everything that I have undertaken. I really get into and get very excited about everything that I have tried. I worked with the REA in several capacities. I was a building rep, a grievance chair, I was a vice president. The many members have equal weight, elementary through high school. All the members are the same, regardless of their subject or years of experience. Everyone is treated the same. Okay. I have always been fortunate in my dealings with the many layers of my chosen careers. Every career has been positive. Everyone has been a growing experience. When I didn't like something, I tried something else. Then I tried something else. I tried it until I was tired or I couldn't do it anymore. I ended up with teaching. Okay, could have stayed another 10 years. Okay. My many careers round out my experience as running my own business has required that I efficiently control costs, work with the public, and maintain flexibility when dealing with issues, problems, and the pride that has come, with controlling a successful business. Then I was a consultant after I did that, encouraging others to be positive and lucrative, and that was self-rewarding, seeing others do well and blossom. As a committed volunteer, I look forward to continuing my mission of helping others. At school, I was active at the high school, although I taught middle school. I worked with the post-prom committee for many years and the Mini-thon. And I attended and tried to assist at middle school concerts and shows. I co-ran the Smile Committee at the middle school, provided meals to parents and teachers in need of help. And I currently am a volunteer teaching immigrants English for the Department of Education. Serving on the school board is the ultimate way to continue as a volunteer at ONJ, as part of a team dedicated, again, to working with the superintendent, helping teachers, aides, housekeeping, maintenance, bus drivers, administrators, students, parents, and guardians as part of a team. Okay, thank you.
As the second question, why are you interested in serving?
I feel I still need to do more. I don't feel separated from ONJ. I haven't since I left, and I know it's been a couple years, but I still feel very committed to seeing that ONJ is right there in my backhand and successful, and it's been successful. Assisting others as they improve upon this already well-established and successful school district is an important and wonderful way to give back to the community. Learning from experienced peers, broadening my knowledge of the many ways that a well-oiled district runs, and continued interaction with so many layers of our school district, from public, right here, to students, to superintendent, is a fulfilling commitment. Listening to parents and their concerns, supporting the superintendent, acting as a member of the school board team will educate me in my endeavor to better myself and help to improve the district. Thank you.
Hi, Beth. I have the third question. What do you believe the responsibilities of a school board member is?
And I looked that up on the internet, just to tell you, okay? And while I was looking things up and I was listening to different things on the radio, I heard an interview, and I thought, that is so perfect. I heard an interview on the radio about successful people. They were interviewing a successful actor. And what she said, and it's so perfect, she said that it is much more positive to build bridges than barriers. And I thought that we should have in every aspect of whatever we do as our commitments to any job, any volunteer, we need to build bridges. That made me think of the school board, and that's the tone that should be created and maintained. A school board member must remain nonpartisan and open to receiving criticism and praise from the community. I would be just one member who helps the board set goals and policies while working with the superintendent in a very supportive environment, demonstrating transparency, patiently weighing the many requests and issues presented, and remaining open to presentations promoted by constituents. Acting responsibly as part of the larger aggregate leads to trust and positive direction. And that's not a quote. It's not like I took it right from the, but I read a lot and that's what I came up with. Okay.
Okay, sorry, last question, but I'm still writing down. So what do you see as the greatest challenge facing public education today? And how would you as a school board member address these challenges?
Okay, first of all, it says challenge and then challenges. So I start with one, but I do talk about more. Okay, everywhere nowadays, all you hear about is the mental health crisis. It's everywhere, and it got so much worse with COVID, and it has not slowed down. With that comes the need to have adequate staff. You need to have the staff so they can identify and help deal with the ever-increasing numbers of students in need. Be it through counselors, psychologists, in-house programs, whatever, we need to make sure that this district is staffed and that funding is available to provide the employees what they need to help the students. It's all about the students. They need to be successful, they need to feel successful. It is vital to address all necessary components for our students who are struggling with emotional issues. At the same time, there are many needs besides these very serious emotional ones. We are tasked with ensuring that all employees at all levels feel valued. The board must ensure that students of all capabilities and interests are respected and acknowledged. I don't care if their IQ is 70 or 140, they need to be, I guess, nurtured, loved, and felt, and they need to feel important, and they matter. Budgeting adequately while addressing all these needs is a school board and superintendent responsibility. That the community agrees with and supports the path chosen is the cake and the icing. Get it? Icing on the cake, yeah. Cake and the icing. That's all I have. Thank you.
Does anyone have any follow-up questions or anything else they'd like to ask Ms. Fuller?
I just have one question. If you were selected today or not, do you think that you will run for election when the time comes?
Come November, for the November election, if I'm not 0 out of 2, because I tried in June, I kind of feel like there's a message there, and I would have voted for Nick. Totally. So I was there with you 100%. Okay. But I figure if it's 0, I'm not so sure if it's 0 for 2. If I am, I want a month or 2 to get my feet wet. This is a whole new thing. So to see if I think I'm capable, I feel pretty good. I'm ready to go full throttle. With a group like this, it would be easy to feel comfortable and want to continue. So, but I need a month or 2 to try. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. That's an okay answer. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So one of the things that you said that you would make sure was that the funding is available. And so do you have any specific ideas about how you make sure that funding is available, or specific budgetary pitfalls that you've seen in the past with your experience? What advice do you have for us on funding and budgeting?
That's Nick and Jackie. But what I feel is to look at everything going on. I'm sure that that's what you do, and make sure that the money that's being used is used as it should, that there's nothing sitting that wasn't used up and then we don't know what to do with it and it disappears. Everything needs to be accounted for. And the right people who are the experts really are the ones that we depend on to make sure everything is working right. I'm scared of what just happened, that the districts that are not as well funded, they took up a lawsuit and they just won to change the way Pennsylvania funds education. I also looked at how other states fund the schools, and they put more federal, well, more state money in than Pennsylvania. So Paul Friel is now part of the state, and I saw like 50 and 60% from state, and several of these states are funding education. We're not. We're like 30-some%, I believe. So that's something to look at even more deeply and figure out what we can do with the current House in Pennsylvania. It can't all be the school district. It has to, it's the whole entity, it's the state too. So I was just looking at that actually within the last few days, since that hearing, that whole decision came out. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
I appreciate all of you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. And Dr. Sal, nice to see you.
Okay. Mr. Chester. Welcome.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for being here. And as we asked Mrs. Fuller, would you like to take a few minutes to tell us about yourself and why you're sitting here at the table with us?
Sure. Nice to meet everyone. Thank you for having me. Warren Chester. I've been in the district for about 10 years now. I have 2 daughters in the district, one in 4th grade and one in the middle school in 8th grade. I'm here today because I wanted to take a larger role in how their education is being shaped and formed, and to a little bit of greater extent how our community's education is being shaped, especially as it comes to the ever-changing landscape and diversity in our community.
Hey Warren, my name is Dan. Nice to meet you. I have the first question for tonight. So if you could just share your background, including the qualities, skills, and experience that you would bring to the school board.
Sure. First thing I'll say, I'm a product of public education. I grew up in Philadelphia, inner city Philadelphia, as a public school student. All kind of educational experience there. I went to creative and performing arts as a vocal major before transferring out of there to Simon Gratz, was a traditional high school to kind of focus on sports. From there, I went to college in Kutztown, so I have a little bit of the more rural Pennsylvania educational experience. I also coached football at Kutztown Area High School for about 6 years. All that to say, I've got a diversity of background in different types of public education systems. Now my girls are in this suburban school system, so I'm getting a flavor of that, the different textures of how education is handled across the state. For me personally, graduated with a degree in computer science, where I spent about a dozen years as a programmer before becoming a project manager, tackling projects, multi-million-dollar projects in the public utility space at PECO for a while, and I'm currently at Vanguard as an IT development team manager, working in the financial services space. For a couple years there, I did own my own business as a consultant, got to travel the world a little bit as a programmer as well, so got a little flavor of how internationally communities handle not only their financial system, but their education and their public services. All that to say, I feel as though I bring a skills of being a great team player as well as a great leader, as well as a diversity of thought and background to this board if given the honor.
All right, I'm Jennifer with the
Jennifer.
second question. Why are you interested in serving on the school board?
Sure. I'm interested in serving on the school board because I said I wanted to take a greater role in the education of my children. Currently, I've always taken a lean towards developing new talent in my professional life. I've done several rounds as a mentor and done internship, leadership, and things like that. And more recently, as my girls have become older, I've taken a keen interest in volunteering at the school. I help at East Vincent on Fridays with fluency reading. And just that kind of giving back to and developing and seeing someone grow really appeals to me. As my girls get a little older and don't want to see dad in the school, in their class, I look to other avenues to kind of contribute and be a part of their life, even from the shadows. That sounds weird.
Hi, my name is David.
Hi, David.
What do you believe are the responsibilities of a school board member?
Sure. The responsibility of the school board member, in my opinion, are to kind of ensure that our students are being educated equally across all the different aspects of our children, right? Whether it becomes special needs, whether it becomes students with interest in arts or mathematics, they all deserve the same level and care of education. And I think the school board is here to ensure that they all are provided that equally. So for me, I take a lot of, some people may think of it as more of a robotic approach to the way I make decisions, but I always try to make decisions from all varying viewpoints, taking all facts and information into account and making the decision that I think will be best for the students, which I think what this board does and should continue to do.
Lastly,
All right.
what do you see as the greatest challenge facing public education today, and how would you as a school board member address these challenges?
So for me, I think the greatest challenge, not to be too kind of airy with it, is time, right? Over time, society changes, approaches to education change, our kids change, the way they learn changes. And it's a responsibility of the school board and our teachers to kind of keep up with that and come up with new and innovative styles to address all the changing needs of our kids, right? And that's a challenge, right? Sometimes the wheels of government don't move fast enough to keep up with that change, right? And we have to be clever in our approaches to solutions. As a board member, what I think, I'm a practitioner of what they call agile in the IT world, where it's continuous improvement through constant iteration, right? You do something and you try it for a while. If it sticks, and you keep it. If it doesn't work, you get rid of it and try something different, right? You don't stick to something out of, being so tied to an idea that obviously isn't working. And I bring that mentality to everything. I bring that mentality to my nutrition, to my workout, to my chore schedule with my kids. Like, it's always like, hey, this isn't getting them to clean their room. Hey, let's try the next thing that gets them to clean their room, right? So I bring that mentality to everything. Well, it's cliche term. They say fail fast. So that's what I bring. Let's try some things, and if it doesn't work, we'll get rid of them and try the next thing until we find something that works.
Does anyone have any additional questions, Mr. Chester?
Do any of the rest of you understand the agile thing that he just said?
Yes.
Constant improvement, something?
I
No,
come from
don't.
IT
No.
background, and most of them don't.
No problem. Like I said, it's just a constant improvement through iteration, like working what they call sprints, which are 3-week work cycles. And at the end of that 3 weeks, you identify what went well, what didn't go well, and you change it up and approach the next 3 weeks at a time.
Warren, I have a quick question.
Go for it.
You mentioned a couple times that your motivation for wanting to join the school board was take a greater role in your children's education. So I'm just curious, what specifically have you experienced that you would like to either see improved upon, changed? So what do you want to focus on should you be appointed that you,
Sure.
in your experience in OJR?
Fair question. So when we moved into the school district, my oldest started at East Coventry. We were there for 2 years before the school district was redistricted, and then we ended up at East Vincent. It was very an abrupt change for her, and we kind of worked through that. One of the things that we did notice in that is that East Vincent became a school that had a more diverse student population. But it didn't have a corresponding diversity in staff. I know that's a challenge, right? I think part of that is, again, not to be cliche, but if you want to see the change, you got to start with yourself, right? So if I want to see a change in the way our community is taught and in what our community representation looks like, then I can't, if I'm not willing to step up and be that first person, that first voice, then I can't complain about it, right? So I definitely would want to focus in on, more diverse, and not just of ethnicity, but of diversity of thought, diversity of background in our staffing and our faculty. Sure.
If you're selected, or even if you're not, do you think you'll ever run for election?
Unless my daughters can magically skip the next 6 years of life, I'll be in the community and in the school district for at least that long. So I do plan on continuing in this position if I'm not selected. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
No
I
problem.
appreciate it.
Oops, sorry.
You're good. And will you just hit that microphone? We are going to do a public comment on agenda items, so there are 2 opportunities for public comment. The first section is for information, proposals, and statements from individuals or delegations pertaining to items on the agenda that will be voted on tonight. So voted on tonight in this meeting. Speakers are to indicate your name, township of residence, and the items on the agenda to which your comments are addressed. Speakers will be limited to not more than 3 minutes. Please understand that this is not a time for dialogue with the board. Rather, the board will listen to all comments and consider them in future deliberations. The second section at the end of the meeting is for residents to speak on any item. As a reminder, if you have any question for the school board, you may email all Board of School Directors at schoolboardmembers@ojrsd.net, and you will receive a written response. For anyone online who would like to make a comment, you may use the raise hand function. Anyone? Do we have anyone online, Frank? We do not. Going once, going twice? Okay. At that point, we will take a brief recess for the members of the board to have a moment in solitude. A reminder that this is not a time for deliberation, but a time if you want to take a few minutes to think about your vote, okay? So we'll reconvene it is 6:40 in 10 minutes? It's 6:30, so we'll reconvene in 10 minutes. At 6:40, please. Yes, thank you.
Oh, there's got to be something you can do to fix it.
Because it's one of the things that isn't listed in the school code, well, in Sunshine Act, that was delivered against. You can just put it here. There was a lot of bustling of those jobs. Right? They never contemplated deliberation. Yeah, no, I agree.
You don't need it yet.
No. Okay, I call us back in session from recess. So agenda item 6, I'm looking for a motion to appoint a school board director. Do I have a motion?
I move to appoint Warren Chester.
Do we have a second? I don't know, need to do a second, pardon me.
This would be a nomination for
Okay.
Mr. Chester.
Okay,
Then I nominate Warren
thank
Chester.
you. Okay, are there any other nominations? No? Okay, then I close nominations. Do I need? Okay, do I have a second?
Do you mean a second nomination?
For closing the nominations?
Second.
For closing the nomination.
Okay.
Okay,
Who did that? I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Kathy.
Thank
I
you.
understand what you're saying. Just to close it, you have to second it. You have to motion to
Kathy
close.
second motion. Was it Kathy? Yes.
You have to mo,
No.
Move to close.
I move to close.
yes.
Thank you.
Yes, she did.
We don't do this a lot, I apologize for confusion, but we want to do it as cleanly and perfectly as we can, so I apologize. So then we move on to a vote. Okay. We're going to do a roll call vote by name. Mrs. Carmine?
Sure, I'll be happy to do that. Mrs. DiMarino,
Yes.
Mr. Doherty,
Yes.
Mr. Hermanos,
Aye.
Dr. Melnicek,
Yes.
Mrs. Munson,
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Rotoli,
Yes.
Mrs. Sabo.
Yes.
8-0. All, the ayes have it. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, sorry. We are going to move to our second round of public comment. Information, proposals, and statements can be from individuals or delegations pertaining to any item. Speakers are to indicate your name and township of residence. Speakers will be limited to not more than 3 minutes. Please understand that this is not a time for dialogue with the board. Rather, the board will listen to all comments and consider them for future deliberations. Again, if you have any question for the school board, you may email us all at schoolboardmembers@ojrsd.net, and you will receive a written response. If you are on Zoom, please use the raise hand function. Are there any comments? Mrs. Booth?
Hi, Colleen Blute, North Coventry, East Coventry Township. I'm here tonight in continuance of the discussion we had about the black shirts, the red shirts, the black pants, etc. My phone hasn't stopped ringing since Sunday at 12 noon until today at 4 o'clock, with people from other school districts, this school district, complaining about this picture. This is a picture taken by someone at a wrestling meet where there were approximately 41 schools, middle school students. When they looked at it, they thought it was the Boyertown School District unfortunately, was the Owen J. Roberts School District. It has a B on the back of it and a paw print on the front of it. Yes, that is a middle school coach. Boyertown parents were in an uproar. 3 of them called me and complained about it. One of them sent me that picture. They could not believe that it was said Owen J. Roberts on the front of it with a paw print, but a B on the back for Boyertown. There was also some confusion as to why a Boyertown teacher was on the mat when a Boyertown and Owen J. student were wrestling. Couldn't figure out why it was a Boyertown coach on the floor. It was an Owen J. Roberts coach on the floor. So I don't know what was going on there, but there were a lot of complaints about that shirt. It is a middle school coach. Who it is, I don't know. But I had to field all your phone calls. So I'm bringing it to your attention now. You need to get rid of the black. You need to change the B. There should be no B on the back of that. You can only see be strong when you're in tight, 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 close proximity to that shirt. Just an FYI.
All right, I feel like we're off to the Grammys here. Tomorrow we have 16 young people who we have tried to teach how to be lawyers in the past school year. We're going to the courthouse. Wish us luck. I'd like to thank Mr. Wenzel up here, who managed to get us transportation, and also Mrs. Chrisman, who's helped the kids by letting them use the library room, and also a shout out to one of our past supporters, Mr. DeFusco. So hopefully you heard good things. Everybody's welcome to attend. It goes from 5 to 7:15-ish, and it's live, so I do not think there's going to be any Zoom links passed out. So see you guys later.
Are there any comments online? Are there any hands raised? No. Okay. We're going to move to board discussion. I'd like to start by once again thanking Mrs. Chevelle-Fuller and Mr. Chester. Mr. Doherty and I both were in your shoes at one point, applying to be appointed to this board. So some of us know how difficult it is to raise your hand and say, I'd like to help. And I personally, and I think everyone else here on the board, really appreciate your willingness to do that. And I know that appointment or not, you are still a part of the OJR family and will be involved deeply in what we do, and we appreciate that. I also would like to say good luck to our mock trial students. I know, having had a child who's participated in a mock trial in the past, how much they work toward that, so good luck tomorrow to that mock trial team. Does anyone else have anything at this time?
I'd just like to also just say thank you for Mrs. McCurry bringing that mock trial stuff to us. And tomorrow, unfortunately, I cannot do that tomorrow. So if you could keep us posted on other events, I would love to see that. It'd be great. And also, I just have a question about Mr. Cuthbert, our athletic director, if he has any kind of protocols on coaches at where, their attire, or is there any kind of policy on that he would have, or how do we, at least make sure our coaches are properly dressed?
Dr. Stout, do you have some guidance there, or perhaps we should follow up with Dr. Cuthbert?
Yeah, we'll need to follow up with Dr. Cuthbert on that. I mean, this has been brought up several times now, so it's something that we need to have a conversation with him about. And just, I don't believe there's any policy. Certainly when we're looking to purchase student uniforms for our athletes, we try and stay within the confines of the school colors. But I think sometimes students and coaches elect to select other things as outer attire that are not part of the uniform. So we're just going to have some conversations regarding that.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Anything else?
Regarding the photo that was passed around, I don't understand it. If there's more context there, maybe you could email that photo to the board. No, I understand. I just don't know what the context of it was. So that was my question. And then I guess, you know, I don't know what our policy is regarding that, but I think, you know, with a school of this size and all the different teams and whatever, you know, and I'm sure this happens. I know it happens even, you know, within my company. Like, you know, some manager decides to get shirts for his team and doesn't like run it by anybody, and he like messes up the logo and it's the wrong proportion or the color shade is off or whatever. So I think, you know, within the school district, if we don't have this already, I think there should be some quick check through, you know, our branding people, probably. So just so that like anything that's ordered is just, you know, just a quick quality control, like, hey, yeah, go ahead, order that. Yeah, no, the logo's the wrong size, the color shades, you know what I mean? Some standard for branding. So I think we should probably make that I think that's important, that we all look somewhat, it doesn't all have to be exactly the same or whatever, but there's some cohesiveness.
Well, I think that's one of the goals that's on the
Yeah,
agenda tonight,
yeah.
is just about, you know, being consistent in our branding, so to speak. And so I think that at least coaches should, you know, I know there's like a little limitations on what kids are going to do or whatever, but at least the coaches should be identifiable as the coaches at any athletic event. They should be, you know, that should just be a
It's
given
hard
thing.
because, you know, like when we were kids, you had to like do a lot of stuff to order things. Now you just could go on like any website and just upload a thing and
Yeah,
you know,
and you can
get
get there
200
that
of them
same day.
made.
You
Yeah,
can get it.
Get them the same day. So it's, I think we guys have to tighten up whatever policies we have regarding that. Okay, that's all. Sorry.
Anyone else? Okay. I adjourn the meeting at 6:50. We will take a 10-minute break before we move into our next meeting at 7 p.m. Thank you.